Hi everyone, my name is Marie Victoria Robertson. I am a storyteller. See, there are a lot of stories that are written up in the stars, in the constellations that you can see at night. Now this story is about a constellation called Delphinus, the dolphin constellation. And if you look up for it, you'll see it's 5 stars that form the body of a dolphin and the tail. And this is the story of how a dolphin came to be up in the stars. Now this goes all the way back to ancient Greece, where there was a young man called Arion. Now he was a poet, a singer, a musician, and he would play on his lyre. A lyre was an instrument with strings. Think of it as a little bit of an old-fashioned guitar. And he played on his lyre, and he would go from town to town, and everybody agreed he had an amazing voice, and they loved to come and hear Arion play. Now one day Arion heard of a contest happening in Sicily. It was a music competition, and the best singer would win an entire bag of gold. Now Arion decided he would try his hand at this competition. He found a ship that was bound for Sicily, and he set off. Now on this journey, which was quite long, the crew didn't pay any attention to Arion, so he would spend all his days sitting on the side of the ship, taking out his lyre and playing, just playing over the sea. And he would sing with his beautiful voice that people loved so much. And every time he sat and played his lyre and sang, the sea would start to churn a bit and would start to splash a bit, and dolphins would pop out of the water and listen to Arion play. Sometimes it would be one dolphin, sometimes an entire pod of dolphin would be there to listen to him. And it happened this way until the ship arrived in Sicily. Now Arion bid farewell to his audience of dolphins, and he disembarked. He went to the music competition, where he was already in awe of all the people who were there playing music. He saw instruments he had never seen before. He heard people singing songs in languages he had never heard before. He sat and he watched everybody compete. And finally, when it was his turn, he took the stage. He took out his lyre, and he played, and he sang so beautifully that as soon as he finished his last note, the king of Sicily stepped up on stage and declared him the winner and gave him the bag of gold. Now the people in Sicily loved Arion so much, they begged him to stay and play for them forever. But he said, no, I would love to, but I will miss my home too much if I stay here. But I promise I will come visit you again one day. Think of it as a touring musician. They did that back then as well. Finally, it was time for Arion to return home. He found another ship that was going to leave Sicily soon. He bid farewell to all his admirers, and he continued waving and waving as the ship pulled away from the shore until it disappeared. And as Arion turned and ready to head towards his cabin, he saw the captain and the crew, and they weren't smiling. They were snarling at him. The captain stepped up to him and said, "We hear you've got a pretty big bag of gold on you. That seems a lot of weight for a little man like you." And another crew member, taking out a knife, said, "Maybe we should help you with that." Arion started to be scared, and he said, all right, you can have the gold. It's all right. Just leave me alone." But the captain said, "You're very, very generous to let us have the gold, but as soon as we pull into shore, you're going to turn us in. So you have to know that we can't let you leave." Now Arion, he begged and begged them to spare his life. But the captain, all he did was laugh. Now Arion was frightened, and he knew he had no way to escape. But maybe, just maybe, he had an idea. He looked at the captain and he said, "All right, Captain, if this is really the end for me, then maybe you could grant me one last favor. Could I play one last song?" And the captain thought. And finally he said, all right, take your little lyre, play one last song, but as soon as you play your last note." So Arion sat on the side of the ship, and he took out his lyre, and he started to play a sad, sad song because he was not feeling feeling too happy at the moment. And he played, and the music washed over the sea. And he played, and as soon as he played his last note, Arion held his lyre and jumped right into the sea, leaving the captain and the crew surprised at what he was doing. But as Arion bobbed into the water, the sea started to churn, and it started to splash, and he was lifted up on the back of a dolphin. Now the dolphin carried Arion forward, and the others of the pod surrounded them, and in this formation they continued, swimming towards the shore way ahead of the captain and his ship, until finally they brought Arion safe and sound back home. Now, as a reward for this heroic act, the dolphin was given its space among the stars in the Delphinus constellation. And as for Arion, well, he continued playing town to town. He didn't have his bag of gold anymore, but he had his music and he had his dolphins. And whenever he played near the shore, the dolphins would always swim up to listen to their favorite singer. So take a look and see if you can find the Delphinus constellation tonight if it's not too cloudy.